No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the bliss out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you.
Woo! 3, 4.
Good morning. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
All right.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Renaissance on this 4th of July weekend. Welcome to those of you who are watching online. I have to say, it feels really good to be together, doesn't it? And I really think of this as our sanctuary space, our space to come back to at the end of a week, difficult week a lot of times, get recharged, get rekindled, get spirit moving through us again. So I'm very grateful that you are all here. There's a lot of upsetting things happening in our country and in our world right now. I'll tell you, there's times I feel like we just should come together and just breathe for like 20 minutes. Just breathe. But, Spirit is moving through us and guiding us through every bit of it. I do want to share that I read some additional upsetting news this morning about a 25-year-old black man named Jayland Walker, who was so horrifically killed from a police shooting in Akron, Ohio. I'm a little shaken by it this morning, and it's a reminder that racism continues in this country, that these events that we hear about from time to time for we who are white, it's a tragedy, but it passes, right? But those brothers and sisters who are black, this is an everyday reality, living with this threat and this fear every single day. Because Jayland Walker isn't just one person who is killed. He could be your brother. He could be your father, your husband. He could be your son. He could be you. So today I'm reminded of the importance of the work that we are doing here, and to continue to raise these issues and to see the ways in which all of us can rise up together in consciousness and be there for one another, to open our hearts in compassion, to care and to learn and to grow. To me, this is what Unity Renaissance is all about. And it is, to me, at the heart of what we celebrate when we look to our country and its founding principles. So this is the 4th of July weekend, and I think of it as a time not necessarily to focus on or dote on what is present in America, but the promise of America. The promise of America, the founding principles that are near and dear to our heart that we have yet to fully express as a nation. Liberty, justice, equality for all. For we the people are in charge of this country. So we hold that in our hearts today. And as we celebrate this 4th of July, I just invite you to continue to rekindle that love and that spirit in your own heart so that together we can make this a better country and a better world. So that's my sermon for today. It's what I'm feeling. It's what I'm feeling. Of course, transformation is what we're all about here at Unity Renaissance. Unity is a positive, practical, progressive path for spiritual growth, our own form of Christianity. We follow the teachings and the example of our way shower, Jesus, in seeking to more fully love ourselves, love God, and love one another. It is all about love. From that consciousness of love here in Unity, we honor all paths to God, all names for God, and all expressions of God, and each and every one of you, or one of you, is an expression of God, a holy, sacred, unique, valued, dignified, worthy expression of God. When we truly know that, when we know that we are, each and every one of us, innately divine, we connect with that presence within us, and then we behold it in one another. That beautiful light just grows and grows, and it shines out ever more brightly to light up this world. Our vision at Unity Renaissance is, together, a spiritually awakened world living in peace, love, and joy. And we are manifesting that vision through our mission, which is, together, we transform lives that transform the world. And you know what? That means transforming ourselves. So let's begin our time together this morning in prayer. I invite you to close your eyes, breathing in deeply the energy, the spirit of this new day. Just feeling divine love move through you, divine grace upon you. Know that spirit is within you, and spirit in the transcendent realm is pulling for you. Just as spirit is guiding and pulling for each and every one of us and all of us together. On this day, we bring into our hearts anyone who is suffering, anyone who is hurting, anyone who has lost their way. We bring into our hearts the Jayland Walker family and their friends, the suffering they are enduring. We send them waves of peace and healing and comfort. We surround all of Akron, Ohio, and all of our country with our loving prayers and our support that we move through this to a true awakening, to meaningful action that changes the situation for good. We are filled today with gratitude for this nation that we live in, the opportunity to stand up, to speak out, to be who we are here to be. And so we bless this time together in spiritual community, this time of love and celebration and joy. And we call it all good, and we serve it up for the glory of God. And so it is. Amen.
skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty, above the fruited plain.
Let's all stand and sing together. Let's-
America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. All beautiful for heroes stood in liberating strife, who more than self their country love and mercy more than life. America, America, God and thine every flood, confront thy soul in self-control, thy liberty is love. Oh, beautiful for patriotry that sees beyond the years, thine as the vaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, may God thy glory find. Give us success, be nobleness, and every gain divine.
A wellspring of love and generosity within you. I invite you to join me in our divinity salute as we turn to greet our neighbor with a bow. Together, the divine in me greets the divine in you, and we serve and celebrate together for the glory of God.
Everyone sing this last together, proudly. Oh, beautiful, spacious skies, forever waves of grain, for purple mountains majesty, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Hi there. For those of you online, you missed a really good "oh yeah" at the end of that. that elicited a chuckle to lighten the mood, and thank you for that. And as Lily, what a phenomenal start to that song, man! Woo! Ah! And what a great reminder that in the country we live in, we have the freedom to express ourselves. We have the freedom to bring up challenging topics. We have the freedom to learn and grow to practice loving one another and honoring one another. And for that, isn't it great to all be here in America right now? Or maybe if you're not online, that's cool too. Okay, so hi, I'm Heidi Kohlberg. I am a happy, peppy, joyful member of Unity Renaissance, and it's a delight to be here with each and every one of you this morning, and each and every one of you online too. So, from our daily word, the word today is free. Would you please join me in our affirmation? Together. Living from my Christ nature sets me free. As a spiritual being, I am always free. I remember this at those moments I feel at the mercy of an unpredictable world. While I may not be able to control what happens around me, I take comfort in knowing that I don't need to. I am free to choose my response, but even more, I am free to meet life from my divinity, the breadth of my spiritual power. In prayer, I claim divine ideas. I use my gift of imagination to envision the life I wish to live, and the gift of will to make choices to bring it about. I speak affirmations to raise my consciousness and help create conditions for my highest and best outcomes to manifest. I find precious freedom realizing that life doesn't happen to me, life happens through me. And this reading was inspired by scripture verse, John chapter 8, verse 36. So if the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. And if you would like prayer support today, we have a variety of options for you. For those of you here in person, we have prayer chaplains to pray with you after the service. We've got Lisa and Dawn will be available in the chapel, which is right outside the left-hand doors past the bookstore. So you can meet with them for personal prayer. You can also fill out a prayer request at the prayer table or go online at unityrenaissance.org and fill out a prayer request, or call Silent Unity, our 24/7 prayer ministry at 1-800-NOW-PRAY. That's 1-800-669-7729. And now will you please stand for the Lord's Song.
Holy Creed.
We praise your name, your will in heaven and earth the same. Supply our needs, Lord, from day to day. Let your forgiveness light our way. Lead us away from temptation's hold. Deliver us, Lord, into your fold. For all the kingdom, power and praise, with you began and with you stays. Holy Creator,
Our Father, who art in heaven,
praise your name.
hallowed be thy name.
Your will in
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done,
the same.
on earth as it is in heaven.
Supply our needs
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
Your fold, for all the kingdom, power and praise, with you began and with you stays. Amen. 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 Please be seated. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. In the kingdom of love, there is no competition, no contradiction, and no control. But you can take possession and claim your passion. Working on a building that cannot be bought or sold. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, coming back to the holy ground that you always know. Step into the feeling of sweet surrender. Let yourself remember who you are. You can take your own sweet time and ease your troubled mind in the secret sanctuary of the heart. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you've made it home. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. There is room for all the kindness you can hold, and you know you can take it with you everywhere you go. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, where you know without a doubt that you made it home. Living in the house of the soul's belonging, coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. Coming back to the holy ground that you've always known. Coming back to the holy ground that you've always known.
Today begins my series on Confucius, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad, 4 of the most influential human beings who have ever lived. And each of them was a master teacher in the art of living nobly and deliberately and fully and well. So I'm drawing from a lot of different resources for these talks, but primarily to give credit where credit is due, I'm keying off of the Great Courses class on Confucius, Buddha, Jesus, and Muhammad. And we'll primarily be focusing on each individual and their teachings, rather than the religion that they are regarded as having founded. And just to remember, one of the reasons we do that is because these individuals, at least some of them, were affiliated with a different religion than the one that they were later associated with. And also not one of them had made it his life mission to establish a new religion. Rather, they were calling their colleagues, the people around them, up to a higher level of truth, a higher consciousness, if you will. And we will see that each of them had their own distinct message and point of view. But they all seem to agree on one central truth: that human beings must cultivate compassion and humility in order to overcome self-centeredness, what we would call egocentricity, which lies at the root of all unhappiness. So today we begin with Confucius. So for most of my life, I have associated Confucius with fortune cookies. Anybody else? I'm just being honest here, right? Because when I was growing up, quite often the fortune inside the fortune cookie would be attributed to Confucius, whether he actually said that or not, right? So you would crack it open, Confucius says, and then we have a proverb like people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones or something like that. So this was very common back then. And so many of us, if not most of us in the West, came to think of Confucius as this wise old man who was uttering these pearls, these jewels of wisdom, and sometimes kind of puzzling riddles that were a little challenging to figure out. Well, it is true that Confucius conveyed these great insights in short, very pithy and thought-provoking statements. But that is just a tiny part of who he was. So Confucius lived from 551 of the before the Common Era to 479 before the Common Era, which means he lived to the age of 72 or so in the land that we now call China. And the story goes that his parents conceived him in a field and then went to a sacred mountain to pray that the conception would be successful. And then, presumably 9 months later, when he was born, they named him Kong Shi. Kong, which means gratitude for answered prayer, and Shi, which means hill. Isn't that lovely? And so, from what we know, his father died when he was just a toddler, and his mother raised him in poverty. He came from royal heritage, but the family had fallen on very, very hard times. So his father passed away, his mother raised him, and he had apparently concavity, like a sort of a dent on the top of his head, which you don't really see in that picture I had up there before. But he was also uncommonly tall, which when you think about it was kind of advantageous because then nobody could see that concavity on the top of his head. And and he married a young woman when they were both in their late teens. They had a son and a daughter, but it is said that they later divorced. And so, as much as anything, Confucius loved learning, and he loved helping other people learn. And so he established his own school at the age of 22. And one of the key things that he emphasized in that school was what was called mindfulness in the learning practice. In other words, pay attention. And he really drummed that into his students, the importance of paying attention. Nevertheless, he was not a rigid teacher. He more commonly would use informal means of teaching rather than formal. He liked to teach the students through conversation by posing questions to them, and he would tailor the lessons to each student's needs. But then for a while, he stepped away from teaching. He decided to work in the government. He had very high standards for how leaders should be. He said that virtuous leaders would inspire a virtuous society. Well, it was a very tumultuous time in China. When he got into the government, he didn't see a whole lot of virtue there, despite his best efforts to help instill that, right? He saw a lot of corruptive influences, and so after 4 or 5 years, he resigned. And he went back. He went out and traveled for a while as what we would call a political consultant, but eventually went back to his first and greatest love, which was teaching. And so teaching and learning and self-improvement were the focal points of his life for the rest of his days. But what drove him the most, his overriding passion, was a fervent desire to restore China to its earlier greatness, to its former glory days, if you will. And of all the 4 sages that we'll be looking at, he was the one who focused the most on the past. He believed we needed to bring the lessons of the past into now, to continue to be guided by the past. It wasn't so much that he felt that, that those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it, but rather that if we forget the past, we are doomed to moral and social decline. And so he was very focused on keeping the sort of the basic ideas, important ideas from the past alive and improving upon them. So when he was alive, China was going through a very tumultuous time. It was in turmoil, and there were many warring factions competing for power and influence. Can you imagine that? The urgent question of the day was how to achieve human harmony. And what was on the minds of all the thinkers of that day was, what does it take for people to get along with each other? This was 2,500 years ago. And we're still asking that question. So for Confucius, the answer was virtue and morality. And virtue was paramount. And the most important virtue was what was called Ren, spelled R-E-N, Ren. And it can best be translated as noble humaneness. It comprised kindness, benevolence, goodness, compassion, and reciprocity as evidenced in Confucius's golden rule: what you do not wish for yourself, do not impose on others. Confucius saw Ren as the wellspring of all the virtues of the perfect person. Perfectionism was a part of his philosophy, specifically striving for moral perfection. Without a doubt, his Enneagram type would have been a 1. Does anybody know what that means? He was a perfectionist. And evidently, his perfectionism could be a little bit challenging. His disciples wrote, "When the meat was not cut squarely, he would not eat. When a thing was not accompanied by its proper sauce, he would not eat." So that makes him seem a little obnoxious, right? So but he was eminently likable. One scholar described him as, quote, genial and yet strict, imposing and yet not intimidating, courteous and yet at ease. In times of war or instability, his dictates is important. In times of war or instability, all of his dictates on how to govern, how to dress, and how to live offered the tantalizing promise of order. You see, people were gravitating that for stability, gravitating to that. So here are some of his, I think were some of his, loveliest teachings on how to live. Respect yourself, and others will respect you. It does not matter how slowly you go, as long as you do not stop. To be wronged is nothing unless you continue to remember it. If we don't know life, how can we know death? We should feel sorrow, but not sink under its oppression. This is a good one. This is thought-provoking. When anger rises, think of the consequences. It's good, right? And this is lovely. If you think in terms of a year, plant a seed. If you think in terms of 10 years, plant trees. If you think in terms of 100 years, teach the people. You know, some of his teachings align very well with what we teach in unity. Two stand out: his concept of heaven, which is similar actually to our notion of God. And second is his emphasis on continuous self-improvement. So for Confucius, heaven, which was the word Tian, T-I-A-N, it was a dynamic, creative reality that gave and supported life on earth. It was kind of like our concept of God in that he saw heaven as an overarching principle or force, not a super being, not a deity. And this force had certain powers, but not absolute power. So human beings still had what we would call free will. However, Confucius did believe that heaven, this overarching force, wanted humans to be good. And that is where he put his emphasis, on humans being good. He held himself and others to a higher standard. And he largely did that. His spiritual practices, his way of achieving moral perfection, if you will, was by restraining one's desires. So it was less of a releasing the imprisoned splendor and more sort of holding back from temptation, if you will. So that meant, for example, living simply, practicing self-discipline and self-restraint, and engaging in what he called quiet sitting, which was not so much an opportunity to commune with the divine as it was introspection and self-examination. So it was really looking within you to where you still had deficiencies that needed to be addressed, to become more discerning and self-aware. And ritual was an extremely important part of his philosophy. He thought all of life, this is so beautiful the way this is worded, he thought all of life should be like a grand ritual, that in personal interactions, humans should display the same poise and decorum one would expect in a sacred ceremony. Isn't that just, you feel a sort of stateliness? He emphasized good manners and being considerate of other people's feelings, even when you don't feel like it. The idea seemed to be that if you acted kindly and mannerly long enough, you would actually start to feel that way. So it was kind of a fake it till you make it approach. As one writer said, you may not feel particularly humble, but after several thousand bows and prostrations, feelings of genuine humility begin to surface. I've become so fond of him by studying him. He was a gentleman and a scholar, known for his wisdom, his compassion, and his humility. He spoke eloquently and cautiously, choosing his words carefully. I actually kind of think of him as a gentle giant. He didn't consider himself to be the ideal person others took him to be, and he never imagined that he would become an icon. When he died, he was convinced that he was a failure. Of his 3,000 students, only 72 were true disciples, said to have mastered his teachings, which they compiled in the book, The Analects, that's A-N-A-L-E-C-T-S, of Confucius. It's become a classic book, known worldwide with immense influence. So powerful is this collection of conversations, of aphorisms, of sayings, stories, etc., that one prime minister said, with just half the Analects, I can govern the empire. Today there is growing interest in Confucius in China and all over the world. In China, he is now known just simply as the sage. So I pulled from my study just some of the sort of key lessons I think we can draw from him in our own lives to help guide us in our spiritual growth. The first is to live simply, to not get caught up in material things. Comport yourself, in other words, carry yourself, bear yourself with dignity, humility, and propriety. Be kind to others, even when you don't feel like it. Strive for order and harmony in all things. You know, I think sometimes we think order means it's going to hold us back, but in so many ways, order can set us free, right? A sense of discipline and order opens up new opportunities for us. Exercise self-restraint and self-discipline. Live and lead by example. There's so much finger-pointing going on these days, labeling the other, making the other people wrong. This is about your virtue. This is about how you live and how you show up and your virtue will inspire virtue in others. And finally, keep learning, keep questioning, keep growing, because that is why we are here. That is our purpose. That's what I've learned about Confucius on this 4th of July weekend. I'm really just contrasting how he was and what he taught with some of the things going on in our society. We would do well to heed the call of Confucius for greater virtue, dignity, humility, order, compassion, and noble humaneness. Today I'm affirming that, all of those things for all of you and for this beautiful country of ours, for today and all the days to come. Let's turn now to our meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and breathe in deeply. And as you exhale, just release and let go. And just feeling all of your busy thoughts, any cares and concerns, just dropping away. Feel how safe you are in this moment, how loved you are. Mother Earth supporting you, the divine presence enfolding you. And breathe. We take a moment to appreciate that each of us is here for our own unique purpose, to give our gifts, to share our journeys, to learn, to grow, to be the best expression of the divine and human form that we can be. We allow ourselves to turn our thoughts to 2,500 years ago, when a man named Confucius was doing similar work, striving to attain moral perfection in his life and help establish that in the world. We send him a prayer of gratitude and appreciation, and take his lessons to heart, each in our own way. Allow you to connect with whatever in his teachings has resonated for you today, living simply, creating order, greater kindness, humaneness, more time for introspection, whatever. And sit with it for just a few moments in the silence. We give thanks for the wisdom of the ancient sages who have pointed us to a higher level of harmony, awareness, consciousness, awakening. We learn by their examples. We're so grateful for their love and for their teachings and their wisdom. And so we go forward from this day with some additional insights for ourselves, ready to apply those in our lives and in the world to truly transform this world. And for these blessings, and for these resources and this inspiration, we're so grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. So we let it be. Amen.
Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace.
Oh, no, that's there. I did. I wonder what he would say if he saw social media. We got some work to do, don't we? All right, well, this is time in our service for the sharing of our love offering in support of this wonderful spiritual community. And I invite you to give from that place of connection and hopefully gratitude within you, knowing that every single bit you give is so deeply appreciated and is so well used in our mission to transform lives that transform the world. Those of you in the sanctuary, if you prefer to give via cash or check, we have a love offering basket in the back for that. You can certainly go to our website or to the Tithely app, which is pretty great, to give via credit card or debit card. But these days, the easiest way to give is through your smartphone by simply texting the word give and thereafter the amount you wish to donate to
540-418-1228. Text now. Yeah.
And I invite you to hold your gift in your hand now as we bless it together. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Give and it's given back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Back in good measure, it's given back to you.
Song called Share the Dream. There's a winding road where I used to run, where the race is long, but it can be won with every step we're taking, with every move we're making, with every bend in the road we get stronger. We can reach up, we can reach out, we can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we want to be. We must believe we can share the dream.
There's a dead-end street where I used to play, but I found my wings, yeah, and I can fly away. Below the streetlights fading, ahead is my future waiting. Beyond the doubts and the fears, I can see it.
We can reach up, we can reach out, we can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we want to be. We must believe we can share the dream. We can share the dream, we can share the dream. Yes, we can. We can share the dream, we can share the dream. Oh, yeah, yeah.
We can share the dream, we can share the dream.
We can reach out.
We can share the dream, we can share the dream.
We can reach up.
We can share the dream, we can share the dream.
Everybody shout now.
We can share the dream, we can share the dream.
We can reach up.
We can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we want to be.
We can reach up.
We can reach up.
We can reach out.
We can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about. We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we want to be. We must believe we can share the dream. We can reach up.
Good job, y'all. Thank you.
This is time in our service when we welcome those who are new to Unity Renaissance. If you are here today for the first, second, or third time, we invite you to raise your hand nice and high, holding up the appropriate number of fingers. 1 for your first visit, 2 for your second visit, 3 for your third visit. And we have a gift for you. They'll come right around. Keep those hands up if you would till they get to you. Apologize, it takes a minute. And once you get that gift bag inside, there's a little card. If you take that card, if you fill that card out and take it into the bookstore, then you actually get another gift from us, and you get to choose. We're very happy that you're here today, and look forward to seeing you again and again. Welcome. She's going to get you. You're good.
Hello, hello.
One in the back there, darling. All right. We made it.
Woohoo! Period. I'm not sure I'm on. Okay. Oh, yay. Okay. I can't hear it, but cool. So, right? Can you guys hear it? Okay. Hi, let's start that again. Woo! Take 2. So, learning to cook with tofu. So there's going to be an amazing cooking class. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
It's good.
okay.
You're good.
Take 3. Okay. Learning to cook with tofu. So Unity Renaissance member Lisbeth Cherry-Boga is going to be teaching a cooking class on July 14th. That's a Thursday at 6 p.m. here in our super cool Unity Kitchen. So this is a hands-on cooking class. Learn some delicious tofu recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dessert. I had to ask because I'm like, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. No, breakfast, lunch, and dessert. So some cool stuff going on there, right?
You get to take all your food home with you, so you're actually making dishes that you're going to take home.
Yeah, so hands-on, food to take home, some myth-busting about, some soy preconceptions. Lisbeth said she's going to bust those right open and tell you about how delicious things really are. And for those of you who are here today, this is a preview. There's some you can try during the salad bar luncheon, too. But $40 per person. The class size is limited to 10 participants, so you need to sign up on the unityrenaissance.org website.
And I think you also can get it on our app. Use our app for that. Reverend Richard and Ann DeMichael are continuing their fabulous class on divine audacity. So coming up this week, they will be looking at the power of zeal and the power of power. This is a Zoom-only class, wonderfully participative. It's at 7 o'clock on Wednesday, $20 per class, and you can get in on any one of the classes that works for you or the topic is of particular interest. You can register on our website, our app, or on the sign-up wall.
So John Stringer concert on Monday, July 11th at 7 p.m., the Alignment Tour. So join this amazing Billboard charting singer-songwriter, John Stringer, as he shares his music with the intention of increasing vibration through powerful, insightful songs from his albums Limitless Love and Life and Moment to Moment, as well as some soul-stirring cover songs that are going to be sung to create just an amazing night of music. $25 suggested love offering.
I haven't had a concert here in a while. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Some of you may remember our wonderful Alex Botero. She was here for a while teaching yoga. I think it was chair yoga and meditation. She kind of established a following here. She moved to Colombia, and now she's in Myanmar and is offering an online class for 4 weeks called Engaged Mindfulness. She's working towards a certification and also really wanting to reconnect with all of us. So it'll be at 6:30 p.m. for 1 hour for 4 Thursday nights. Oh, I didn't say the starting date there. Starting July the 14th. I apologize for that. That came off the slide. But it is on Zoom, and we will provide the Zoom link on our website and on our app, so you can just hop right on. You don't need to pre-register or anything like that. Some of you I know remember Alex. She's absolutely awesome. Really incredible presence, energy, etc. Something you don't want to miss.
And join us today after the service for Food Fun Fellowship as our cooking team hosts a salad bar Sunday. You probably saw some stuff as you were milling around coming in. There's going to be, for $5 per person, you get a salad, vibrant veggies, powerful proteins, to include some of the tofu that Lisbeth cooked is in amongst your offerings, a variety of other toppings, all for just $5. So
amazing.
Come and join us afterwards. And then I've heard that there's also a bake sale. So if you feel like some dessert afterwards, I think there's going to be some opportunities to get some.
So let me just say something about the bake sale. So I just happen to make the vegan gluten-free cookies, and I am so proud of them, and they're so fabulous. So I hope you will get some. I would even say that if you don't like them, I'll give you your money back, because they're so good. And the $5 gets you 3 of those fabulous, decent-sized cookies. And it's the salad bar to end all salad bars out there. Got meat choices and everything you can imagine, so take advantage of that. We are starting our back-to-school supply drive now through August 31st. We collect school supplies, all manner of pens, pencils, erasers, backpacks, etc. For the children over at Thurgood Marshall Elementary School. We kind of adopted that school, and so we do what we can to support them. You can just bring your donations in on Sunday or during church office hours during the week and leave them out there in the narthex. And thank you so much for your generosity. Next week, I'll be talking about the wisdom of the Buddha, which I'm super excited about. I really love his philosophy, a lot of overlap with unity. And it also is New Member Sunday next Sunday. It's going to be a very festive time with a lot of great new members. That's it for our announcements. Let's stand together now and welcome our children. Thanks, Heidi.
Walking in the light of God, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking,
We are walking, whoa, we are walking in the light of God. We are walking, whoa, we are walking in the light of
God.
Is that all of it?
You may be seated. Well, you have been busy. Is this the offering? The children are bringing in their offering now, and it's just so beautiful. Can you hear me? So beautiful and so touching. And so we're just going to bless it, and we want to say thank you for your generosity and for giving and supporting our church. That we love you. So thank you. Okay. So who would like to share what you learned today? Yes.
We watched The Lion and the Mouse and made a sculpture of the lion and the mouse, and it was about no matter how small or how big, anybody can save anybody, so it doesn't matter the size.
Aw, nice.
Audrey made The
see.
And Grayson made the mouse.
Oh, it's a team project there.
I put TNT in it.
You put TNT in it. Okay. All right. What do we got over here? Yes, dear heart.
Me and Sydney made the mouse and the lion. I made a blue lion because that's the Play-Doh color I got. Its mane is falling apart. And Sydney made this mouse. And I made the trap on the lion, and then the mouse is helping the lion get out of the trap.
Oh, beautiful. So the lion and the mouse sounds like you learned about being able to help one another, which is a lovely, lovely thing, and beautiful projects. Okay, anybody else? Anybody back here? Oh, did you have something, Sienna?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Apologies.
So we listened to the lion and the mouse, and we all thought of something that we could all make together, and the first and she so
You got this, Dora.
so she Sienna made them the food. So we made a kitty because we were supposed to make the lion, but it was a cat, and she really liked she wanted to do a cat.
That's all right.
She wanted to do a cat, so
Everyone know how to do a cat, you know? I love it. Creative.
and Sienna made them the food, water, and the yarn ball
Good job,
right
Sienna.
there.
You guys worked hard, didn't you?
And I made the front part of the kitty. The back part of their kitty, sorry. And can you tell what you made?
I made the front part of the kitty.
She made the front part of the kitty. And together they made a whole kitty. That's beautiful. I love it. You guys are learning such good things. All right, anybody else? We good? All right, let's stand together now for our prayer for protection, followed by our peace song. Together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family, all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
We can reach out. We can reach out. We can show this world what we're all about.
We can do anything we put our minds to. We can be anything we wanna be.
We can reach out.
We can reach out. We can show this world